Hello everybody, welcome back to the Advanced Vape channel. Today we're going to do part 2 of the 3-part series that I'm trying to make about big around 25mm RTAs, the Velocity style RTAs that have been coming out. So first we did the TF RTA by Smoke. That's this here. We did that, and today we're doing the Griffin 25. So I know it's been out just a little while, and so most of you have probably already seen it, but I was waiting to do all 3 of these at the same time. So I'm gonna do the Griffin today, and then next we're doing the Heracles RTA 2. That's the 2 airflow version. So we'll go on and jump into it. I've already put the build onto it because it's a Velocity style deck. You guys have seen it before, so the build's already on there. I haven't fired it yet, but I'll talk real quickly about what it comes with and that kind of thing, and then we'll go on to dry firing it. So packaging is the same from this and the Avocado, the 24, which I know quite a few of you asked for in the giveaway, and so that's what I'm leaning towards right now. But we'll see. I'm gonna let the comments keep coming in for a couple more days, and then we'll get the giveaway started. So that's something that I went on and ordered it in case we end up doing that for the giveaway. If not, I'll do a build video on it, use it anyway. Anyway, this is the packaging it comes with. It's 25mm, 17mm build deck, 6 milliliter capacity, and it comes with, oh, mine fell out. There we go, sorry about that. Comes with little adapters, has 2 of them for single coil. So on one side you would slide that in, and it provides just a little bit of side air and also closes off the juice wells for that. So I've tried a couple single coil builds on here and they're okay, but I would still prefer dual coil on this. You get your normal bag of O-rings. You got a couple different colors. You got the teal, got clear, and orange, which is what I have on there right now. And it comes with a replacement glass that's frosted colored. So I'll go on and set that aside, and we'll move on to dry firing the build that I have on here right now. Here is the base of the tank, and so it looks very similar to the Griffin 22, just bigger. It uses the wick ring in the same way. Everything about that is the same. Airflow is a little different now. It clicks into place, and it is considerably more air than the Griffin 22 had. So the build that I have on here right now, about a 0.12, that's around what I would expect. Turn it down a little bit. And we'll go into dry firing it. Not the prettiest build, I know. It's just something that I had laying around that I thought would be good on the Griffin. This is a staple coil. Little bit ugly on the coiling, but it should perform well. Okay, I think we're in good shape. Not a really difficult coil to dry fire because I have it just a little bit spaced. This is, I believe, I had this wire laying around that I made a while back just for experimenting. We should have this for sale at some point soon, but this is 9 or 10 strips of 0.3 ribbon stacked together, and then that's wrapped with 40 gauge. So kind of a complex build and requires quite a bit of power, but I think that it'll perform really well on this type of tank. It's also what I have in the RTA 2. And not the prettiest, something I made a while back, but should perform well. Gonna go on and move on to wicking now. And I could easily fit, maybe not a wire this thick, but I could easily fit a smaller wire like a Clapton, and definitely normal round wire, in 3.5, maybe even 4 millimeters on this. So tons of room. I've put 3.5 millimeter vertebrae and Clapton on here. Was able to fit that fine, but I had a couple issues with the wicking, and I'll talk about that in just a second. So I'm going to go on and do the wicking real quick. And I'm doing this the same way as I did the Griffin 22, since the design is essentially the same. Okay, so this is 3 millimeter, and I shouldn't have any trouble wicking this, but if you make it 3.5 millimeter diameter, that's significantly more cotton that you're going to put in there, and you're going to have to trim some of it down, trim the diameter of the wick down a little bit, or else these wick channels are going to be overpacked, kind of stuffed too much, and they won't wick right, and that kind of problem is amplified even more with 4 millimeter coils. So that's just something that I've noticed trying to do bigger coils on this tank. So that's one reason why I'm sticking with 3, and another is that this build is really big. So I'm just going to brush at it really lightly to fluff the cotton up. And to make it a little bit easier to put that wick ring on, I'm going to go on and wet the cotton just a little bit. So this allows me to see that these wick ends are just a little bit too long. Now I'm going to just place my wick ring back on. Okay, got the wick ring placed on. Now I'm going to add the air channels in like I did on the Griffin 22. Just poking my tweezers down close to the posts, down into the wick channel, and making a little air gap. And if you haven't seen my Griffin 22 wicking video, what that's doing is allowing a channel for air to escape and juice to come in, and doing it close to the posts kind of uses the cotton as a block between the juice coming in and the airflow, so it won't cause leaking. Okay, so I think we're good to go. I'll go on and get it put together, move the camera up, and we'll get going. Alright, I'm going to go on and fill it up. Top fill on this works exactly the same as the Griffin 22. The top comes off, close the juice flow, and fill it up. One thing I've noticed about this is, and I'm not 100% positive on this, this is just my personal impressions. It seems to me that having the juice flow closed on this doesn't actually fully close it off the way that it does on the Griffin 22. So I notice if I'm refilling that when it's totally closed and I take the top off, refill it, and put the top back on, open up the juice flow again, that the wicks are flooded, which means that there's still juice getting in there even though it's closed. So in this case, there's still a little bit of a corner there, but in the past I've had it be completely closed. I couldn't see any opening there, and it still felt like it was juice was getting through there, and the wicks were flooded after refilling. So not really sure what's up with that. I'm not positive about that. That's just my impression from it. As you can see, the wick holes are quite a bit bigger on the 25 versus the 22, but I don't really see that the wicking speed is that much faster. And in fact, if you're using 3.5 millimeter coils, that it's going to be slower for me anyway, just because of the amount of cotton. So you would have to trim the cotton down, take the diameter down to get that wicking speed up where it should be, in my opinion. So that's why I'm still going with 3 millimeter on here, and I'm using big coils. So I'm going to go on and crank it up. This is kind of a thirsty build that requires quite a bit of power, so I'm going to go right around 70 watts, and I'll have the airflow wide open. We'll try it out. Really great flavor right off the bat. I didn't oversaturate the wicks because I really wanted to see how well it was wicking. And you know, if you prime it too much, then you're really kind of experiencing the juice that was already in the wick and not how it's wicking, if that makes sense. So I'm getting that little bit of mist that I like, just a really fine mist, and that gives a lot of flavor and keeps the clouds. So it's kind of a fine balance between flavor and clouds for me. It does feel extremely airy to me. Maybe a little bit too airy. And if I close the air down, I'll close it down one. It starts feeling more turbulent, and like although it is less air, it just doesn't feel right the way it does with the air all the way open. And I noticed that in the same way on the Griffin 22. I always had the air wide open on that because it just felt turbulent, and I don't know. I just didn't like the way it felt. But I'll try this with one click over closed. That's still pretty open, and it has that kind of turbulent thing going. It's quite a bit louder, and it's not as bad as it is if you close it down a little bit more. But on this, you really need coils that totally block that airflow, totally cover up that airflow. So if I were to do just a normal round wire at 3 millimeter, I feel like that would not cover the airflow enough, and it would be so airy that the flavor would be drowned out. So that's why I chose a big build in this, and I think that's what's intended, is to put big builds in there. So you could do normal round wire, but I would go 3.5 and then trim the wicks down like I talked about. It's really all of these 25 millimeter around there kind of velocity tanks that I'm talking about. They need bigger builds and more power to get the most out of them. So that's running at 70 watts. It's not hot, but it's very dense, and you know, overall I feel like I enjoy this build in the Griffin 25 better than the build that I did on the TF-RTA. They're a little bit different experiences, but this one is more close to how a dripper performs, and the TF is a little bit more choked down, and it does have really good density, but I'm getting better flavor off the Griffin 25. And I didn't think I would say that because the builds that I've done up to this point, they were okay, and I really wasn't crazy about the Griffin 25. But I like this build in there. It feels really good, and the flavor is very strong, stronger than I've gotten on any other build in here, and I've done probably 20 builds on this. So as of right now, I would rank this higher than the TF-RTA, and I'll go on and do the video for the Heracles RTA tomorrow, and I'll go on and compare these two and see which one I prefer the most. And I'll do the same build in this one as I have in this one to try and make the most fair comparison that I can. But overall, I'm more impressed with the Griffin 25 with the build that I have in there now than I thought I would be. I've tried notch coils in there, I've tried vertebrae, I've tried normal Clapton, all of that kind of stuff, and vertebrae gets drowned out by the airflow. Notch coil got drowned out by the airflow. Not really a big fan of notch coils to begin with, but it was not too great in the Griffin 25. But this kind of build that retains heat well, it's made for this kind of tank. And it's a good combination. Not having any problems at all with wicking speed, and overall a better experience than I was expecting. And I have no problem ranking that higher than TF-RTA, and I'm a little bit surprised about that. That'll bring us to the end of the video about the Griffin 25. If you like this video, give us a like and subscribe to our channel, and keep your eyes peeled for the giveaway. And I'm going to try to start that giveaway this week, and we'll go on and get it started running for about a week. And like I said, we're going to have 5 or 6 winners on that, and one person will win some kind of tank. And tomorrow I'll try and get the RTA video, the Heracles RTA video filmed, so we can have all 3 of them and kind of make the comparison and rank them highest to lowest. We will see you tomorrow for the Heracles RTA.